Good morning, everybody, and happy St. Urho's Day. I'll give a special shout out to anybody who knows what St. Urho's Day is. You can post in the comments and I'll check afterwards. So when I was in 5th grade, I was 10 years old, ironically the same age that my oldest daughter Josie is right now. I had a big crush on number 17 on the Pee Wee hockey team. And I did everything I could to go places that I knew he would be because he went to a different elementary school than I did. And this crush lasted for years until finally, probably, I'm going to guess I was maybe in 9th grade when we started dating. And we ended up dating for a long time. We went to prom together as sophomores, juniors, and seniors. We were in the German Honor Society together. We went to German camp. We went to church retreats. We were both officers of the National Honor Society together. We were both athletes. I went to all of his tennis games and supported him, and he supported me. Well, when we graduated from high school, he went to medical school, to pre-med at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland. We both grew up in Minnesota. And I went to Germany for a year. And during that year, I stayed completely loyal and faithful to my boyfriend. I came back and did my freshman year at the University of Wisconsin in Eau Claire, and we continued our long-distance relationship, and I stayed completely loyal. But as you might imagine, I missed him. So I found a national student exchange program that I was able to transfer and go to Baltimore to school. So I transferred out there to be closer to him and to experience another part of our country. Well, as you might imagine, when I got there, it didn't take us too long to realize that we had grown apart and that our long relationship maybe had reached its end for that time. We both had grown and changed in the couple of years that we were having a long distance relationship. And so we broke up. And at first I was just devastated, even though I knew it was the right thing. It was hard, but it was definitely the right thing for both of us. So after, a period of mourning and grieving, we eventually became friends. And it turned into a really nice friendship over years. Well, eventually I get a call from a good friend of ours, a mutual friend, to say that he got engaged. And of course I knew it was going to happen, that he was going to find someone else and date someone else, but I had this wave of emotions ranging from sad, like, oh, he's gone, even though I knew that we were not going to get back together, to happy for him to have found somebody to marry, to a little bit I don't know, I guess probably sad. I remember calling my mom crying and saying I'm so happy for him, but I'm still single, and all of those emotions that happen. Well, when my friend called to tell me that he got engaged, part of the reason he called me is to say that my ex-boyfriend's fiance had requested that he not speak to me again. Well, I had a hard time with that. I went into full-on judgment. I was judging her for setting a ridiculous boundary that I didn't think made sense at all. I was judging him for not having the decency to call me himself and say he got engaged, or to tell me that he wasn't going to be able to talk to me again. I was angry. I thought it was ridiculous. I didn't agree. And that was part of when I called my mom. I was crying because I'm like, how can she just cut us off like this? That doesn't make sense. And how is he, after a decade together of this deep, long friendship and courtship and coupleship, how could he just let go of me like that? Well, needless to say, my response was not thoughtfully fit. I didn't pause. I didn't think. I just was angry and sad and confused. Now, the beautiful thing about being thoughtfully fit is you start where you are, and you do what you do with what you have at the time. So it took me a couple of years where I had to pause and think about this relationship. And eventually I got to a completely different perspective. I got to a place where I not only had an appreciation and understanding of her request. She was trying to set herself up for the greatest success in her new marriage, and it was a healthy boundary to set. Her fiance and I had a long history and a deep connection, and so I applaud her for being able to set a healthy boundary and to set their relationship up for success. I eventually also got to the place where I was able to really appreciate him. I was able to see that it was like the ultimate act of love, that he would honor her in this way, that he would find the strength and maybe, I don't know if it would be discipline, to be able to honor her request. And you know what? In 20 some years, he has never contacted me, not once. I haven't spoken to him. Now, admittedly, a couple of times every few years, I'll go online and look and see if I can't find him on social media, but he's surprisingly absent. But I have this appreciation for both her request and him honoring it. That took me years, literally, to get to. And when I want to share with you, as this relates to the model, it's all about flexibility, which flexibility is stretching for full acceptance of another person. I was not accepting her, his fiance, and I was not accepting his choice. I was judging. And with flexibility, it's all about getting to a place and stretching for acceptance. And so after I was able to pause, in this case, it took years, and think about that decision that she made, that he made, I was able to act differently. Now, in this case, what that meant is that I had a different mindset. And that mindset brought me greater inner peace. And I'm so happy for them and their life. But the process to get there was pretty ugly. So I'm wondering if you've ever had a relationship, if you've ever judged someone for a decision that they've made and wanted them to be making a different decision or to be behaving in a different way. That's normal. That's human. That's our humanity. And that's your opportunity to step into and display some flexibility to really accept someone else for who they are. Now, I've got another tale that I want to share that also has to do with acceptance, or in this case, a lack of acceptance and a lack of flexibility. After we broke up, my long-term boyfriend and I was still living out in Baltimore, and I kept seeing this guy around campus, and I was really attracted to him. He oftentimes had a cowboy hat on. He usually was wearing a black leather jacket and really good-looking jeans, and sometimes he even had cowboy boots on, so I nicknamed him Cowboy. And I'd see him around campus and in the dorms, and I had a big crush on him. Well, on my 21st birthday, if I remember right, I got the courage to go up and talk to him. There might have been a little bit of liquid courage going on there. And we started dating.